All right, welcome back to Developing Hurricanes, where we're going to start off today with a trivia question. I'm going to
Uh-oh.
ask my co-host Matt here, if you were to go on Elite Prospects right now and look at the number one most trending player, who would it be?
Hold
This is
on.
also Monday, March 23rd.
Monday, March 23rd, the most trending player. Okay, they just announced the Global Series today.
Yep,
So there's a possibility that it's a Kane.
it's not. I'm just going to tell you now.
Ah. Okay. Um, hmm. Is it Kane's related?
Yeah, that's why I'm asking.
Oh. Noel Gunler?
There you go. Wow, that
Wait,
took you a minute.
actually.
Yeah, currently the top three most trending players on Elite Prospects are Noel Gunler, Alex Chiernik, and Felix Trudeau.
Get out of
Yeah, that's why I was kind of like, dang, that's insane.
and you know what? There's a non-zero chance
Oh
that
boy,
it's because of your tweet.
I would honestly attribute it a little bit. I mean, it's been up for a little less than 5 hours, and it's
That's
almost
crazy.
double the normal views that a post gets. So I definitely think it
Yeah.
goes into it a little bit.
And your
Uh,
Gardens is a big team, so
Yeah, so to fill in people that don't know, even though this is coming out like 5 days from when we're actually recording this, so you'll probably have seen it by then. Former second round pick, who aged out of prospect status for me last year, but former second round pick Noel Gunler is going to leave North America after this year and head back to Sweden to go play for Djurgården, which is the article that I found it in from Expressen, which it was really funny because his hometown team is Luleå, which I believe he also played for a
he
little
did.
bit. Yeah, and Djurgården is like a Djurgården. I got to pronounce that correctly because it sounds really bad if you don't pronounce the R, because then it just kind of sounds like you're saying Jew Garden instead of
It's
Djurgården.
your garden.
Yeah, whatever it is, it's Swedish. Nah, no disrespect. Swedish is just a very hard language. But um, they're rivals of each other. And Lulea had interest in bringing Gunler back, but he decided to go to Djurgården, or however you pronounced it. So it's sad in a certain way because this was a second round pick they invested into, and it just didn't work out. He
Yeah,
had a lot of injury problems, like the one of the years where he was playing for Lulea and Burness in 21-22. I'm pretty sure he was hurt for a little bit there. The whole 2023-24 year was just a wash because he got hurt. He also got hurt in 22-23, so he lost, I think, his age like 20 and 21 or 19 and 20 seasons to injury. And that is just, that's not going to help your development in any sort of way. It just sucks. But, we wish him nothing but the best with his career. Just kind of sucks that it turned out the way it did due to, I'm putting a good amount of it on injuries just because, again, you lose two of your most important developmental years, and it is always going to be a little bit tougher.
yeah, and it's tough. I think he couldn't really break through at the SHL level. Like he had, let's say, in his draft year, he played in the SHL for most of the year, but then the next year didn't really take a step forward. And a lot of that is like in the men's leagues in Europe, it's very hard for a under 20 player to crack a roster. And then there's all the attitude issues that were reported when he had that, which, in my opinion, I think that's all silly, but that's just me. And then you get the next year, he has a decent, okay season as a 20-year-old, but doesn't really take a step. And again, it's like, I understand, yes, that first year with Chicago, he was hurt. And then he had that weird loan to Carpat where the Canes didn't have an affiliate. And I actually think that did more damage to
Yeah,
his development than I think the injuries have. Um, Not only was he not playing a full year in the AHL, he wasn't playing as a. Like he was brought to the team that Sebastian Aho's dad runs, by the way. and did not play in a worse league and didn't look good in a worse league. And to me, that was concerning. I mean, he's fully healthy this year for the second year in a row. He has set career highs in assists and points, which is great. But he's just not that dominant of a player. And this is a guy who was drafted to be a huge power forward. And it's a bummer. This was one of those picks that the Canes made where, they really established themselves as a team that was willing to take swings. Gunler was a top 10 prospect in his draft year at the beginning of the year.
Yeah. Also,
And
I don't remember very much just because I was not
well, I
20.
remember it a lot because obviously I was running the account, but I remember that draft taking freaking forever.
I think I remember it solely because on whatever NHL game I was playing at the time, Gunler was like a really good person to draft in like the second or third.
Yeah, he was, and like here's the thing: is um he was. Sorry, I just saw the question we just got, and
Yep.
I was like, oh, ooh. Um, I just think, man, like there was so much potential. He's a 6'2" winger that's pretty big, won a lot of puck battles, but like and had skill. It's just he never figured it out, and that's so tough because the Canes have not had that prospect.
Yeah.
So it's like the one guy they draft, and they drafted him pretty high, 41st, and he doesn't do anything.
I was looking at the Canes Reddit, which was a horrible idea, but it
No, yeah.
was I think one of the first times that they actually attributed something to me recently. It was kind of nice. Somebody asked the question because it's always a thing that you look at, but I'm going to ask you two trivia questions, and then we're going to move on. Who was the
Uh
42nd overall pick? The pick right after Noel Gunler.
Was it Jeremy Poirier?
No, but that is. I also think he was a third round pick.
He was a third round pick in that draft.
Go me. I know some things. Oh wait, no.
42nd in that draft. I'm cheating now.
Oh no.
Oh,
What man? Luke
the next four
Evangelista.
picks. Oh no.
Yeah, man. Whatever. Luke Evangelista, Emil Heineman, Tyler Clevin, and then who even is Brock Faber, dude?
So I will say Tyler Clevin is dog. So
Yeah,
I don't mind that the Canes missed on him actually, but missing out on Faber, Heineman, and even Heineman's kind of been like okay, but missing out on Evangelista and Faber is tough.
I also want to say though that it's insane revisionist history to do something like that though.
Oh no, I know, but it just sucks
It
because
wasn't
like
it wasn't at you. I'm just saying in general to do something like that is just crazy revisionist history.
well I mean that's why like there's no point in grading drafts when they come out because
Yeah.
you know like sure was Tyler Clevin the best pick at 44? No, but he's played 160 NHL games.
It's also kind of like
That's
this
more
like
than all but one, two, three, four, five players in his round have
yeah.
played.
So also if you want to do something like that, you could make fun of the Vegas Golden Knights for taking Lucas Cormier one pick before Alexander Nikishin.
You make fun of a lot of teams for not picking Alexander Nikishin in that draft.
Okay,
Let's
I
be
was
real.
just trying to prove a point, man.
Yeah.
All right, second trivia question, which should be a lot easier. Who was the other player on that Carpat team that we had to look at, as well as the second leading scorer on that team that year with 56 points in 59 games?
If you want me to pull out the nerd glasses and correct you, technically there were two others.
Uh,
I believe Tuukka Tiexula and Ville Koivunen were on that team.
Holy hell. Tuukka Tiexula was not on that team.
Was he
So,
not?
no, let's relax over there, big fella.
Wait. No, that's wrong.
I am looking at it right now. Tuukka Tiexula does not pop up on any statistic from the 2023-24 Carpat roster.
Where was he that year then?
Unless he did not get a statistic. But the answer is Ville Koivunen, the man I wish.
Yes, and I did say that. Hold on. Where was he that? Was he in
Tuukka
23? Oh, he
Tiexula.
was with Luca. That's right.
So let's all relax here before
He
we
was
no.
he was loaned to Carpet the year before. That's what I was confused about.
So yes, but Ville Koivunen, a man I still, or maybe not, I shouldn't say it. The way I said it was weird, but Ville Koivunen is a player that I still enjoy to this day because of the way he plays hockey. So okay, so that was all on Noel Gunler, which isn't he's technically not even a prospect, and we spent 10 minutes on that. So
No, but
that's
like
always
it's.
nice.
I mean, he's a former second round pick. That's a big deal, man. Like that's a
Yeah,
big whiff.
I got you. Well, okay, that's all right. End of season, guys. March. One of the busy hockey is kind of this fun thing where it's really busy at the in like from I would say end of October, early November until about March, April ish. Then you get
Yeah,
like a month, you get like a 2 week break, and then you're immediately back into a busy season, and then you
with
have
like the
like
draft
a
and stuff.
month of like draft and then development camps, and then you have like another 2 week break, and then you go right back into like preseason and all that fun
Hmm.
stuff. So, but we are hitting the end of season for some guys, and we're gonna quickly run through. I have 5 on my list that their seasons have ended, even though some of them could technically play hockey, but as I have been told, they can't because of loan rules. So first up, probably the most interesting overall, just because of what he was doing, Justin Poirier. Maine did not make it very far in the Hockey East tournament. Also had a kind of bad year overall. Their team was a lot weaker than expected. Um, and they just kind of underperformed. Justin Poirier did not play a game in the last month of the year. He, I believe, because I read somewhere that he was in a different color jersey in practice. Insane. He didn't play a game after February 6th.
Hmm.
So that sucks because he was over a point per game as a freshman and was looking pretty good. He probably would have had a decent chance of getting a Hockey East Rookie of the Year nod, even though it 1,000% would have went to Ethan Wittenbach. He still would have gotten mentioned, which is nice.
Uh,
Oh, I'm really dumb.
Wittenbach
Don't do that.
CCAC.
Don't do that. Don't I forgot. Who is the Hockey East rookie that I'm thinking of that was like far and away the best, and I can't put my finger on it because it wasn't Nestrashil. It was somebody you weren't expecting, and my brain's just gonna blank on it for right now.
Higgins was a second year.
Yeah. So
Hockey East had no. Letourneau was a second year.
yeah,
Hockey East had a tough year.
am I
Kai
dumb?
Daniels.
Who in the I've never heard that man before in my life.
Neither have I.
Who am I thinking of? There was like I thought there was
Parker
one dude
Lalonde.
that just like I thought ran away with it in Hockey East, but maybe I am
Jack Musa.
entirely wrong. Jack Musa is old.
Okay. I'm
Hockey.
just throwing out Hockey East names, but I'm gonna be real. Like,
I okay. So now that I look at it more, he probably had a good chance to win it if he was fully healthy. Now that
yeah,
I'm
Hockey
like,
East is just kind of
is
okay
there a
this
way
year.
for me to like actually? No, of course there's not a way for me to search Hockey East on Elite
I mean,
Prospects.
no, but I can do like Hockey East like
Oh, I could
18 to
if you
20.
it's probably even better. Hockey East stat. If I look it up, it probably helps. Okay, wait. Conference scoring leaders. Uh, who is? I guess Parker Lalonde. Well, he only had 22 points. Hold on, this can't be right. Oh, that's only doing Hockey East games. That's not
Yeah.
doing. Okay, this is
Either
awesome.
way, I understand what you're saying.
I
Not
guess
not the greatest year.
Justin Gill, Parker Lalonde, and then you could probably do, I guess, Vaclav Nestrashil. But if I almost said Nadeau, if Poirier plays in the rest of Maine's games, which was another, it looks like 3 or 4, he probably gets a nod and he probably has a decent chance because he definitely helped that main team to a couple wins. It just sucks because he was really proving me wrong from a perspective of I was a little nervous because he was small and his skating was weird.
Hmm.
And he went to a tough conference and immediately put on like a really solid showing, and then he just misses a month of the year. So it sucks, and hopefully he gets healthy and has another good year in college. Because I'm going to be real, I don't think he signs, and honestly, I wouldn't be shocked if he transferred because NIL is hilarious.
Yeah, I mean, I think with Poirier, he stays. I don't think he goes anywhere like for a new college.
I'm only mentioning that because NIL is ridiculous.
It's silly. We've let it get to a point where it's silly.
That's the only
But
reason why I'm saying that.
I think that it allows for Poirier to have a really good year. Um, Next year, lead a solid team.
Hopefully they get better. Like,
Yeah, I mean, even if they don't get better, he's going to have a top line
yeah,
like
1,000%.
role. So, like, as long as he can continue to get better, continue to get top ice time, have a healthy season, great. That's all I can hope for.
Yeah, that would be really nice. It does just kind of stink because injuries have just been the biggest thing this season.
The Canes organization as a whole has just been hit by the injury bug.
Yeah, even Kyle Masters hasn't played in a while due to injury, dude. It stinks.
That's crazy.
Hey man,
The guy they acquired just to get a free fourth round pick.
I'm just saying. He hasn't played due to injury.
That's
Do
funny.
you think the Greensboro Gargoyles couldn't use him right now?
I mean, they could use. What did that one coach say when they played Florida in the tournament, the NCAA tournament? They asked the coach like of the 16 seed like what his team needed to do better, and he was like, "Well, we need some help from the Lord."
Lord, please help
I was
us.
like,
They're on. They're
"That's
on.
what the Greensboro
I
Gargoyles need."
think I don't remember. They were asking like in the game. Florida was on like a 16 to something run, and they just go, "What can you do to stop this run?" Well, we need some help from the Lord right now. We're just praying to
Yeah,
Him right now. And
that's
it's
so
like, dude,
funny, but
yeah.
like that's the Greensboro
Yeah,
Gargoyles,
right
man.
now it's bad. All right, moving on. Let's
If
talk
you're
about
if you're
a.
giving up 5 to Norfolk, like, come on,
All right,
man.
man. We're not going to mention the 9 given up to Norfolk that same weekend, but
Oh man, I didn't see that.
we're going to keep that one away from
Yeah.
cameras, hopefully. Next up, let's do forwards. Let's do all the forwards because it's 4 forwards and a goalie, and I want to do the
Okay.
goalie last. Next forward, good forward, shockingly fun forward, tiny forward, which is going to get people really upset because
Uh-oh.
okay. There are some legitimate concerns with smaller players in the NHL. Do not get me wrong. But at that same point, I really think height is like a very, I don't want to say overrated, but I think people look at height as like an end all be all. And we've probably had conversations of like, look at last year, the last year of draft, and you look at like the sixth and the seventh rounds, and it's just 6'3" people who have like a point in 40 OHL games and stuff like that. And it's one of those things where it's like, yeah, you could draft a guy with height who he's tall. That's pretty cool. Or you get a guy like Vigo Nordland and the crowd cheers.
Hooray!
Now, why would you want a guy like Vigo Nordland who's only 5'9" and 170 pounds if you round up by 2? And the answer is because he went to a professional league this year.
He did.
Half a point per game pace for a under 20 player, which might I add led all under 20 players in Hockey Allsvenskan in scoring. He scored the most goals by a U20 player in the Hockey Allsvenskan and had decent playoff performances to boot.
Hmm.
So I think that's good. His whole kind of thing is being a dynamic winger. The skating combined with playmaking, and the shot is there a little bit, but I am interested to see what happens next year because he will be returning to. I'm gonna say it the fun way, Shkalefti. I don't know if he gets loaned again because I'm not 100% sure of the situation with Shkalefti forwards. I wouldn't be shocked if he gets loaned to Hockey Allsvenskan again, but I also wouldn't be shocked if he tries to carve out a real role with their SHL roster.
So I'm just gonna to point out the players that were drafted after Vigo
You,
Nordland.
you can probably do before, might have the same effect.
I'm gonna do after just to like would I mean would before would also be fun, but here. So let me just get like the CHL players because like the European guys is like who knows. Alex Weirmeyer, who Vegas just signed after an okay season in the WHL as a 20-year-old, 21-year-old. He turns 21 in May. Excuse me.
Oh
So his
wow.
overage season 93 points in 66 games. That's where you want him to be as an overager. That's not a guy you draft. Anyways, he had 46 points in 41 games as a 19-year-old in the CHL. That is like not impressive. Edison Engel,
That is a name.
a real human being,
They call him Eddie, you think?
committed, had a bad year in the USHL last year, committed to Ohio State, had 28 points in 61 games for Brantford this year. I don't believe Brantford was very good.
Brantford is currently the 1 seed.
I see.
Well,
Still, though, that's not that good of a year.
it depends
And
on
he's
also
not
where he
going to
was
that good of a school.
playing because again, Brantford is really good and they're loaded with talent right now. So
Doesn't say his time on ice.
it's the OHL.
Also,
Why
if they
would
were
they?
loaded with talent, he only. I don't know, man. I don't know. Next, Andrew McNeil, another defenseman. You know what? I'll give him credit, man. Over doubled his point totals from last year. He now has 7 in 48 games.
Mm.
I know Kitchener. I don't think Kitchener was like fantastic this past year.
Oh, Edison Engel is also a defenseman. I had not
That's what I
realized.
said.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So McNeil, why? He's 6'2", and that's about it. Dawson Sharkey was drafted out of the queue. Actually, he actually had a decent year. He's a right winger. He had 62 points in 60 games in the queue, which is that's where you want him to be in his draft year, but that's just me. He also set a new career high in penalty minutes with 128.
Salute to that man.
Yeah, so love that. Gustav Sjökvist, also in the Skellefteå. No, he's in the AIK system. Just kidding.
Oh, well, hold on, because somebody tried to correct me on that a while ago. Is it? I actually want to say that is the guy that I'm thinking of who actually had a really solid year.
He had a fine U20 year.
Is that was he in Hockey Allsvenskan this year?
For 34 games, he had 3 goals.
Okay, so I'm thinking of a different person then.
And he's 6'3". He's a defenseman.
There was a Sjöquist that was up there for points in Hockey Allsvenskan. So I
Okay,
think
but sure. I'm not. There's one player I'm not going to list because of obligations that I can't say. And there's one player who I'm actually curious about, so I'm gonna pull up his.
we're doing he's doing scouting work while we're recording a podcast.
No, there's no. I can't. There's not something. There's some things that I won't be allowed to say. So
Bro,
drafted
I'm not editing.
before
Please don't say
Nordland.
anything.
Now these are all players that were drafted before Nordland. A overage defenseman, 19-year-old. No, he would have been a double overage in this draft because it's 2005. Last year's draft age was 2007. So a double overage player drafted in the 6th round by Chicago. Ashton Cumby. 17 points in 59 games. This kid probably doesn't sign. Nathan Quinn, drafted 164th overall. One of the only 5-foot-something players drafted in the draft. Quinn actually had a decent year for Quebec and is committed to Northeastern. 73 points in 58 games. But it's the CHL. That's not a men's league.
Hey, man.
Anthony Alain Samake, I love.
I was going to say, I watched that UConn Merrimack game, and we'll probably talk about it for like 2 seconds. That dude's really good. I really enjoyed his game. He skates really well.
He's one of those guys that, and I can say I worked with him now. He's a great kid. I have no obligations to the Express. Great kid. I don't think we ever had a shot at getting him because obviously he went to Sioux City last year.
Mm,
But UConn got a really good player. He
yeah,
skates really well. He's got really good instincts. He doesn't always like make a whole lot happen. He's a very like Joel Nystrom low event type guy. But man, is he fun to watch. So I legitimately he's one of the players that I like.
yeah. I
That was
remember you
drafted
mentioning
in
him last year at some point.
yeah. Burke Hood was drafted.
That's a goalie.
That is a goalie.
I
892
recognize the name.
save percentage for Vancouver this past year. Did not play for Team Canada at all.
We might have spent a little too much time on this.
I'm just saying, like, Evan Passmore should have passed him up. 10
Dude,
points this year for Barry. Will Murphy, like, 8 points for Cape Breton. Like, what are these teams doing drafting these players, man? So, anyways, like, I'm just, the point I'm trying to make is, like, why not take Nordland?
yeah, you take the chance on the smaller guy. You hope he starts to handle physicality well, and you take him on the traits that he had, the offensive traits, the skating, the playmaking, the what
Mm-hmm.
he can do, instead of just taking tall guy because he's tall.
Yeah.
Okay, that was
I'm
insane.
sorry. I just had to rant because it's like,
We've done
what,
it multiple times. That's the
we
best
were
part.
watching this in the draft and saying, what are these teams doing?
Yeah. All right. You want to do Unk or winger
Sure.
turn center next?
Let's talk about Mr. Krutov.
Yeah. All right. So this was a fun one because I just blatantly wasn't paying attention to Aimer because they stunk. But at the very end of the year, they were trying a very fun thing, which was putting Andre Krutov as a center. And there was good things about it. Mainly, he had a game where he was 56% in the dot. I'm pulling it up as I try and install time. Games in KHL. It was against Lada. Where are he was 50 or Salavat? He was 57% in the dot against Salavat, a team that has very decent center depth. Went 8 of 14. Now the ugly is I'm seeing a lot of 10%, 33%, 28%.
Yeah, I
But
mean, he hasn't played center since freaking junior.
that was the biggest one to me is I tried to figure out when last he played center, and it was a very, very long time ago when he was a junior player back for Lada Toliata, and I would assume it was before he was on the U16 roster as well. I would assume this was a long time ago. And the flash of a 57% game, as combined with some of those 33s, give me a little bit of hope that there might be a center in there. And I think the biggest thing is that centers, one of the best things you can have as a center is good hands. And that is something that Andre Krutov has in spades, is that he's very good with his hands. Um, so I'm interested to see if they want to keep him at center for maybe a little bit, maybe not full time, just a couple instances. I think it'd be
Yeah.
kind of fun, but overall, the loan, honestly, he got KHL time, and that's probably the best thing for him. And maybe you see if he can stick at center. But he's going to go back to Torpedo next year, and I wouldn't be shocked if he was traded from Torpedo, kind of depending on what they do with their team. But I also think they wouldn't mind keeping a dude who turns 20 in about a month, who has shown some level of good in the KHL. So it was a weird year. I think I said that in the description of like the post of like his season's over. I was like, yeah, it was just a weird year. There really wasn't a way for me to explain it better than just it was a weird year for Krutov.
Yeah, and I mean, it's one of those things that I just, Russia is such a meat grinder for prospects,
Unless you're a Montreal Canadiens prospect.
apparently.
Dude, it's a psyop, I swear to God.
Oh, no, I'm not going to say what I say. Um, I just think that the Canes draft a lot of Russian players in the hopes that they'll find like the one, like the Nikishin. They have yet to hit on a forward, but
There was hope, and we'll talk about him in a minute. We'll talk about him later, but there was hope last year. There was a lot of hope.
yes, and yeah, there's still a chance for that. But so like with Krutov, like if you're not the problem with drafting Russians in the later rounds, and this is why a lot of teams avoid the later round Russians, is like if they're not good enough to like be great right away in the KHL, they're not playing.
Yeah, I mean
Like
that's when
Krutov probably could be a fourth or third line forward at the
that's
KHL level,
basically what he was for Amer was a third or fourth line winger, and then for some reason they immediately went, yeah, you're gonna play second line center for a while.
which is fine. Amer is terrible,
They're
but
firing
like
the coach.
for Torpedo, he wasn't gonna play.
No,
So like, even though he probably would have been better than a handful of the guys on Torpedo, because he's 19 years old, he's not going to play, and that's the case with. We've seen a lot of our Russian prospects that if they're not going to be, excuse me,
oh
if they're
my
not going to
god,
be like
man,
unreal right away, like
professionalism.
hey, when have I ever been professional?
Good lord.
If they're not going to play, like it's going to be a tough season to watch, as it has been with Mr. Krutov this year.
You know, it's even better than one Russian struggling to get KHL time. How about a second Russian struggling to get KHL time, buddy?
It's
There's a
just
lot more, but there's one whose season's already ended that I love to talk about because I don't know why he holds such a weird place in my prospect fandom, and maybe it's just because he's a big forward who skates really well, and I enjoy things like that. But that would be one uncle, Big Unk. Actually, no, it's not Big Unk. It's I make this joke. No, it's just Unk. Sorry,
yeah,
Uncle Fyodor Avramov, who
professionalism.
oh yo that okay. I'm sorry that I forget a nickname. I'm not yawning in the
Hey,
middle of my sentence.
hey, you can dish it.
In any case, Fyodor Avramov, he has KHL production now, which is really good. It was 2 goals in 36 games. But if we look at his average time on ice, it might be 8 minutes total. He
It's
so I've never seen a kid. What was his high? It might have been 13 minutes this year.
yeah, he did not see a whole lot of ice time.
I think it's 13 minutes. Is his yeah. His highest time on ice this year was 13 minutes and 55 seconds.
That sounds about right, and that's just horrible.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. In a game where they lost to Sibber 10-1, he
Golly.
had 52 seconds.
And so they're probably, and I mean, that game, they're probably just like, hey, like, our defense needs a breather. Just like, go out there for a sec.
Just go play defense for a while at that point, man. It's 10-1.
Yeah, like you're telling me the team, yeah, the other team's dropped like 8 goals on you, and you're not just like, I mean,
Yo, this
what else
kid's
do we
like
have to
9.
lose here?
This kid's 20 years old. We should maybe try him a little bit, see if there's something there. Nah, just send out the other 38
Nah,
year old.
B.
We're going to send out, like, I was trying to think of an import forward, and I don't think Sochi has an import forward, unfortunately.
It's tough. They're not a good team, and they're not in a very great area.
I think their only import right now, and he's technically not an import, is Ilya Samsonov.
Yeah, I
Oh,
just
I'm very sorry to Noel Hoffenmeyer and
former Canes prospect showcase legend.
my apologies to Mr. Hoffenmeyer, William Bitton, Max Ellis, and Jean Christophe Baudouin.
That's like a who's who of former CHL players.
My apologies to you guys, but you stink. So Avramov, 2 goals in 36 KHL games, 5 points in 5 VHL games, probably where he should have played 90% of this year. and
I
then
agree.
18 points in 15 MHL games. And in what was kind of a cool act, now that I think about it, he gets one more MHL game with Capitan Stupino, 2 goals, and is named player of the game. He gets the little cool hat, gets his picture taken in his last MHL game. And I had to make sure to preface it because I think people were reading a little too much into it. It's his last MHL game because he aged out. He's 20 years old. It's a
Yep.
U20 league, so he just can't play in the MHL anymore. Um, with that said, Brian Windhorst is going to magically appear on the screen right now. I don't even really want to put words to it. Just Brian Windhorst is around. Just know that. Maybe that's the thing this year. Last year, Eric Tolsky had the plane like going up emoji. I would use eyes emojis a lot. Maybe this year it's just Brian Windhorst going like this whenever I see something. Maybe that's what I should have used for Noel Gunler's thing today was just Noel Gunler and then just Brian Windhorst.
No Cutler. People
Nothing
are like,
else.
"Oh God, he's the call up."
Yo, that would okay. But yeah, no,
People are so mad at you.
Fyodor
Oh.
Avramov. I would not be entirely shocked if he finds himself in North America next year, and that's where I'm going to leave that.
Yeah. I think that it makes a lot of sense. He has pro experience, not a lot of it, but he has enough of it. I mean, in all technicality, he has 55 games of KHL experience and
Yes,
27 games of DHL experience.
yes.
Now, don't ask him the ice time.
I,
Don't
I,
ask about the ice
I think
time.
that man would punch somebody in the face. Hey
Yeah.
man, you got 55 KHL games. What was the ice time like? Just bam. And he's 6'3", 200 pounds. I'm not taking that. That
Yeah.
man is slightly taller than me. I'm not dealing.
But I mean, it's a no brainer that he's not signing in Sochi again.
God, I
Sochi
know.
has like killed his development. I think there's a chance that there's always a chance he signs like a 1 year deal of like a prove it KHL deal.
Yeah,
But
or just plays in the VHL for a whole year, which honestly wouldn't be bad because it's probably the league he desperately needs the most to test his development.
I mean, no, I mean at this point, I think the KHL it's the KHL at best. He's got 55 games, but that's just me. But anyways, it wouldn't shock me to see the Hurricanes try and get him to work in North America. We really liked what we saw from him at Dev Camp. He was quick. Um, he probably had one of the better shots at the camp. Um,
And
the Canes don't have
I was about to
with
say
Gunler leaving, they don't really have anybody like him. I
I was
mean,
gonna say the Canes wingers, they don't have a lot of guys who are 6'3" and 205 pounds and can play off contact like no
it
like
is
I almost said no
just
like
him.
Fyodor Avramov. So yeah, and we'll talk about the Wolves later because the questions that we got a fun one that might take a couple minutes, but we'll probably mention him again. With that, last person we'll talk about season ending, the only goalie, Igor Velmakin.
Yes.
You look at his record and you might be a little disappointed because he, 7-9-3, ew,
Mm-hmm.
kind of disgusting. The stats, if you look at just purely the stats, you might also not be too enthralled. It's a 288 goals against and a 908. At the same point, he handled his largest workload in, what is that, 3 years? He hasn't seen more than 20 games in a year since he was playing in the NMHL.
Ah, yes. The other league.
Can you imagine barely playing games for 2 years and then getting 23 games? And he was also getting a lot of back-to-back games where he was getting a good amount of starts. So there, to me, and I've said this a couple times now, as he turns 23 in about 2 weeks, 10 days ish.
Mm-hmm.
If you look at the North America goalie situation for the Hurricanes going into next year, if you don't look at the NHL at all, don't even think about it. We're prospect people here. We look at anything below the NHL as Matt desperately pulls on his shirt collar for some reason.
Yikes.
Currently, the only goalie signed through next year is Ruslan Hajayev. Other than that, there is not a single goalie for 4 spots at least. Why, this is a guy with KHL experience. He's got a good amount of VHL games under his belt. With his age, you only got to give him a 1-year contract.
Yeah.
Why not? There's probably a lot of reasons why not. He's six. He's 6'1", and for goalies, that's a little bit on the smaller side. That wasn't that funny. There's no way.
You're like, why not? Okay, there's a lot of reasons why not.
I
It's
said,
just
okay,
the
hold on.
comedic timing.
I said may. There may be a lot of reasons.
I apologize. Also,
So he's turning 23, so that's a little bit on the older side.
it is.
He's 6'1", so for goalies, it's a little bit on the smaller side. So it's a little weird, yes. But again, why you need goalies? He's gonna come cheap, and it would be a 1-year contract due to his age. I would like it just because I've met the guy and he's a really cool dude. He's super nice. He's super humble, and that's my stance. I think there might be a little bit of a cool goalie in there. I like a lot of the technique. Obviously, some of the stats are not great, but again, I'm in the camp of why not. Like, let him have a shot.
Yeah, I mean, I think with Velmakin, it's going to come down to is it worth the Hurricanes giving him more than just like a minor league deal?
Give him whatever Amir Miftahov got, in my honest opinion, which, if I'm not mistaken, was like a big guarantee for one. It was like a big guarantee for a one-way, but nobody was going to claim Amir Miftahov. So,
And I really hate to say it,
oh no, please don't get us.
Miftahov
Please don't get us in trouble.
was an NHL, or was a goalie that had played pretty well at the KHL level.
Yeah, and that's
And
exactly why I was going to say there's another thing is that his KHL stats aren't that great, and you look at somebody like Amir Mitahov who comes from the KHL and goes to North America again, and and that's where you pull your collar a little bit.
well, and what's frustrating is like Miftahov, okay, he hasn't worked out, but like none of the goalies the Canes have tried out have worked out, and like that was at the KHL level, and so he was good at the KHL level, and so I'm just like, man, do I really want the Hurricanes to get a guy who's to this point pretty unproven?
Yeah. Now, I will also say that just because I've mentioned just looking at stats, and I know people are going to look at when I say that Ruslan Hajayev should not be written off just yet, and you look at his ECHL stats this year, and you might throw up in your mouth a little bit.
I know I have at least once.
That's insane. Please don't. I think I apply unrealistic expectations to people at certain times because this is a first-year ECHL team who is
Yes, and
mainly relying on if
Yeah.
Chicago signs somebody on an AHL contract, like David Gagnon and Blake Biondi have been like their most reliable forwards. They didn't get Bryce Montgomery until like a month ago. They've mainly been relying on like undrafted college free agents and maybe one or two guys that have ECHL experience. The team is really young, and honestly, it's not that great. But again, it's because it's a first-year ECHL franchise.
They've also signed like a lot of D3 guys too. Nothing against D3 hockey.
I thought they signed some. I mean, they're not names I recognize.
They've signed like one or two
Heart.
kids from St. Thomas, one kid from Sacred Heart, but like again, it's like
they just signed a kid from
ECHL.
Northeastern. Come on.
Oh, and that kid from Northeastern. I apologize. I forgot about
thank you. Gosh. But yeah, no. It will get better. And Ruslan Hajayev, to me, like, I'm immediately pointing at his one AHL start this year where he looked good
Yeah, he was great.
against the Grand Rapids Griffins, who are number one in their division by, I want
He
to
was
say,
solid.
20 points.
I will agree.
So I'm not counting him out yet.
I
I know
just,
it's ugly.
man, I
God,
just. Oh, did your internet go out?
no? Yes?
Oh, we're gonna wait.
Maybe?
Oh, there it goes. You just like
I,
stopped for a sec, and I was like, did what I just say like break him?
no, it hasn't. That genuinely hasn't happened in like a month. And today is the first time.
Of course, it's the day we record, you know.
It's just perfect timing, you know? It's just
Oh.
great.
But anyways, so like I was saying, I get where we're coming from here, or where you're coming from, where Velmikin, and I've thought about Velmikin too as a potential why not option. If the Hurricanes deem that they're cool with having him for a year, then sure.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, to me at least, I'm not putting my eggs in that basket.
Yeah, I'm not either. I'm just it is an option if it's there. It's the same thing for like Jakob Vondras, who's in the same exact boat. All right. So, playoffs. Certain guys are in playoff mode. Quick shout out, Stanislav Yarovoy. 3
Solid game
points.
plan.
3 points, and was heavily involved in the Kimmich offense today. I'm telling you, that guy was shot out of a cannon. Even Alexander Pashin got a primary assist on one of his goals. That threw me for a loop, let me tell you what. I remember they're in the same team, and I'm like, there's no way that they'll ever get point. And then I'm like, wow, Alexander Pashin served up a crazy good pass. That's all right.
It's like you forget that he was once a draft pick.
Oh yeah, but shout out to him. Good start to his playoff run, which brings me to my next point. The KHL playoffs for Canes fans this year, for any prospect fans that like KHL prospects for the Canes, just don't really pay attention.
Don't worry about it.
Don't like. I'll get the important stuff. Don't even like. Don't worry yourself with it. Like, dude, it's gonna be. Let me pull up the post that I had about. And of course, that's not even close to what I meant to. Gosh, I really am not professional doing this. Um, but I had tweeted out all the teams that have Canes prospects playing for them that are playing KHL playoffs this year. And my God, I think we were spoiled with Alexander Nikishin. Just, being the best player on that team. Where is it? Okay, so Vladimir Gurdinin and Severstal are playing Torpedo. Timur Mukhanov, if you remember, got traded to Torpedo. He was healthy scratched. Did not see the lineup today. Vladimir Gurdinin played, I want to say, either the second most on his team, had a secondary assist. They still lost 4-1.
That's tough.
Alexander Suryatsky is one that I actually care about here because Alexander Suryatsky was practicing on the third pair today, which means he might actually get KHL playoff minutes out of the gate. Great. What I want to see for a young kid. That's what I
Yeah.
like. Thank
Yeah.
you, Metalurg. Nikita Armonov and Nefta Kimmich are going to play probably the best team in the KHL right now in Avangard Omsk. If you look at Avangard Omsk, it's basically an AHL lineup. Nefta, like, he's going to get third line minutes, and
Yeah.
if he gets a point, great. But he's going to get like 12 minutes a night. I don't really think I'm going to pay that much attention to it. I will because it's my job. But lastly, the guy I actually had hope for here was Alexander Rykov. Do you okay? And it pissed me off to no end. The 4 guys they had play ahead of him today. He was healthy scratched in the first playoff game for Tractor Day, and guess what? They lost. Who would have thunk? The 4 guys they had play ahead of him today, the 4 forwards, they had less points combined than Alexander Rykov.
Isn't that wild?
And he has played well. He was playing middle 6 minutes for like the last month of the year. And even when Tractor was decently healthy, he was still getting good fourth line minutes. I'm talking like 10, 11 minutes a night.
Yeah.
First game of the playoffs, healthy scratch. That's sick, man. It's awesome. If you want to watch any sort of Russian playoff this year, VHL playoffs, Metalurg Novo Kuznetsk, Alexander Paravelov is going to probably have a good playoff. Best team in the VHL right now. You can watch them for completely free on YouTube. MHL comes around. As long as Kurban Limitov is healthy, because he did get hurt recently, as long as Timur Cole is actually playing with the MHL team, MHK Dynamo Moscow is going to be incredibly fun to watch because they're
True.
going to probably use them on the same pair and they're going to get 28 minutes a night and it's going to be sick. Watch them. Watch like Jaden Perron in Michigan because Jaden Perron's been doing really well. Just don't even think about the KHL playoffs. I'll do that. Just let me handle the KHL
Yeah.
playoffs. It was a very long rant to explain that the KHL playoffs might be a little bit more boring this year comparatively because Alexander Nikishin has spoiled us. Other
That's
than
true.
that, one of the guys I mentioned, Jaden Perron, my God.
That that was the goal we have waited to see
I mean, even
in
Scott
sport.
Wheeler said, "Where was this Perron in North Dakota?"
Yeah,
The answer was one, behind Jackson Blake in his freshman year, and then two, just didn't work out.
we've just waited 3 years to see this level of play from him.
And you know what's even more insane is that came from him at the point, because as I have
Hmm.
learned, he runs Michigan's top power play.
Yeah,
He's the quarterback, which is kind of sick. Shout out their head coach, and I'm not pronouncing it because I'm not going to make a fool of myself again. But like, this has been Perron's best year, and it's been great. And I think Michigan has a really good chance to win the whole tournament this year. So good for him. Also, in a super, super limited role, shout out Michael Emerson for winning the Hockey East with Merrimack. And I
yeah, and
truly do
Merrimack
mean
is on their way to
Sioux
the tournament.
Falls. They're going to
And
play North
same
Dakota.
Charlie Serrato and
Yes, I was getting to him, but those two guys won their conference tournament, which is
yeah,
why.
and then Charlie Serrato. They're playing Duluth, right?
Yes, they're playing Minnesota Duluth, and funnily enough, if Michigan and Penn State win, they play to go to the Final Four.
That'll be fun.
It would be really fun, but I also would not be shocked if Minnesota Duluth wins. So,
Yeah, Penn State's kind of a weird team. I don't know what to make of them. So
and they're going to be really weird next year when a guy like Jackson Smith probably potentially goes to the AHL. It's going to be really
I think
weird.
Gavin McKenna probably goes to the NHL.
Yeah, that guy. Okay. But yeah, I guess speaking of Serato, we'll kind of start to tackle the questions because I
We
asked
have a
for
lot of
questions.
them,
Yes,
and we've
and
been on
we've
for
been.
almost an hour.
Yeah, well, I blame you for going on the 20-minute rant about people drafted around Vigo Nordland.
Because I mean, anyways,
All right, we had how many questions? Two. Two. We had specifically two questions about Charles J. Serrato. Um, One from Nathan Wright, who is asking if Serrato will join the Wolves after Penn State season ends, and another one from, I want to say that's not you, who's asking for a Serrato timeline. Hmm. So my thing was pre-injury, I was on the motion of like, as long as he continues the good year he's having, and as long as you know we, as long as he continues to have a good year, and Penn State goes pretty far, I wouldn't be shocked if he signs. After the injury, and if Penn State does lose round one, I said I'm 50-50 currently because I wouldn't be shocked if he does sign because he is 20. He's shown proven success at the NCAA level for 2 years now. And there's unless like the only thing that he could prove at this point is like the only thing that's kind of still there for him is an NCAA championship. At that same point, the injury robbed a hefty chunk of his year. So I wouldn't be shocked if he does go back to college to try and have another run. But that's why I'm 50-50. I know you've said you've been more 60-40 on it recently.
yeah, and I think the reason why is you look at Serrato's play over the past 2 years. Like, I'm trying to pull up his profile here. I apologize. I should have been more prepared.
Professionalism, blah, blah, blah.
But you see, last year, 50 points, or excuse me, that was the year before, 42 points in 38 games. This year, 27 and 22. Like, obviously, he's missed a ton of time this year.
Yeah,
But he also played against men at the Spengler Cup and did pretty well.
that I forgot to mention that. Yeah.
And I just think back to back seasons over a point per game in the NCAA, what's the point?
Mm. Are we going
Truthfully.
Brian Windhorst here?
No. I'm not no, because that's for stuff that, like,
Whoa, okay.
is
Because then,
conspiracy theory.
then
That's
we're gonna
like
have to
tinfoil hat Matt
then we're
right
gonna have to
there.
backtrack. Good lord.
So for Serrano, what is the point though? Like, what is the point of keeping him? Like, what do you hope to gain out of another year? And that's what I keep asking myself, right?
I,
I
I,
think with him, I don't know. I don't know what he could gain from another season in the NCAA is that he couldn't also get in the AHL.
I'm not denying that, but I've also known these college guys to want to chase these sort of championships like the high like Big Ten championship or the potential NCAA championship, and maybe that's for a thing of like what guys say whenever they go back because they don't want to sign with the team.
Yeah.
But at that same point, it is something that does happen.
It's what Jack LaFontaine said to justify going back to Minnesota when he was like a 24-year-old senior. He
Okay,
was
now
like 22, but
I also could have sworn that Minnesota got mad at us because we signed him early.
yes, but before that, like, he
I
wanted to go
yeah,
back as a graduate student.
I had to
Anyways,
clarify the timeline because I
but yeah,
vividly
so like
remembered that.
he's ending his sophomore season. He's 20 years old. No, actually, he just turned 21. Excuse me.
Hey, congratulations, kid! Have a
He
beer.
turned 21 actually
Well,
almost two
actually,
weeks
don't
ago.
have a beer yet. You're prepping for a big game, but
Yeah, you know, you can have one tonight. It's only Monday night. They don't play till
ooh,
Thursday.
good lord.
So he just, like, for me, he's 21 years old now. This is the time to come to the AHL.
Yeah,
What are you going to gain by being 22 playing college hockey right now? Not much. Like, the Canes likely drafted him knowing they could get him in the AHL within the year.
that's another thing because I think we both had that kind of talk whenever he was drafted of like he's a +1 overage and he looked really good and it's a okay +2 overage because
Plus
some
two.
people all right man. So he's an overager, and he had a really good year, and he's going to have another really good year. So yeah, I get it.
That's crazy. Jeff Merrick, sorry, just tweeted the Rangers have 4 shots on goal against the Senators with 4 minutes left in the second.
Shout out the New York Rangers. Scott Morrow is still not good enough to play for that decor. That's also just a shot at the Rangers, not Scott Morrow. The
Yeah.
Rangers.
Anyways, sorry. We can continue,
All
but
right. But
I
yeah,
think Serrano signs. That's where I'm at.
I would not be shocked as I stutter crazy. I wouldn't be shocked if he is signed. And I also wouldn't be shocked if he doesn't. But I think at this point he probably does sign. But if because he asked for a timeline specifically, they asked for a timeline specifically. It kind of depends on what happens with Penn State. If they go out, I think they play Friday. You could maybe see movement on it as early as the week after. Uh, that's just kind of the whole thing of it. Kind of like how you see guys. There really hasn't been like a ton of high level NCAA guys sign, unless I'm completely blanking on someone. But like Felix Trudeau, Felix Trudeau, or like the Ohio State center Riley Thompson. They lose on Saturday night or Friday night, and
Mm-hmm.
by Monday he's signed.
Yeah, I think who was the Islanders pick? Iserman just signed.
Oh yeah, and that was like maybe like a 4 or 5 day turnaround or something like that.
Yeah, so like that's what I would expect. I mean, and that's typically what the Canes have done with their big NCAA guys. Is it's like usually they're like, hey, and they probably have worked with their agents ahead of time. Like, I don't know who represents Serrano.
Whoa, agents. Let's calm down now. These are still college kids.
He's
I
represented by freaking Octane. You think they haven't talked to him?
I'm just saying, we there is still some things NCAA. I just remember a situation that happened a few years ago for me that I had to be careful with. But I know it's a very ever changing day for it. So, but I do understand. If that made any sense whatsoever.
Actually, I thought Octane was a lot bigger than they are.
No, I mean, we're not shouting out Benjamin Gaudreau and Avery Hayes.
And Seamus Casey. Anyways, go ahead. Next question.
So let's do next question. What do we want to do first? Where's Bradley Nadobin recently? This is a very easy one. He got hurt.
Dead.
Okay, well that's he got hurt. I thought he was going to be back this weekend. He was not. He'll probably be back within the next few days. We're obviously recording this on Monday, but I would expect him to play either Wednesday or one of the weekend games. He's just
And
hurt.
the only thing I have to say about this that's actually like semi-serious: how bad has Chicago been without him?
It's legitimately been whatever Felix and Robida can make happen. And then also shout out Legault, man. That guy
That
was
was a
cool.
hell of a goal. I won't lie. That
Even
was a
yo,
really nice
his
give and
his
go.
assist that he got, he jumped into play, got around the guy on the wall, and then sent a great pass to the middle.
Yeah,
Obviously, Robida gets the primary on that for lightly breathing on the puck.
yeah.
But wow, okay, that's another draft question. But we have a few draft questions, which we're gonna. I guess we can just tackle that kind of closer to the end. But let's do one of the MHK guys. Let's do Howie's question. Who is our new AHL emotional support Russian, and why is it Timur Cole? Hey man,
Yeah.
we didn't say anything about Timur Cole coming to North America.
No, it just
I haven't.
I've been
Yeah,
saying it that it just kind of feels like it for a little while because he's so,
it's insane that he's still playing NHL hockey at this point. I
and
think that's
that
the
to
biggest thing.
me tells me all that I need to know.
And it's not even that he's like not good in the MHL. He's really good, and his team, the MHL team, trusts him. I tweeted out today, Monday, that Cole played the most minutes on average per game, and it was 25-18 or something like that. Next closest was Kerbin Limitov at 23-32. He was playing 2 minutes more a game than the next closest guy. And you're telling me that guy's not good enough to play KHL minutes? It's kind of dumb. But, I mean, color me shocked if that happens. Color me shocked if it doesn't happen.
No.
It's just one of those things.
I think it would be very interesting to see Timur Cole in North America next year because there's a lot to like about how he plays.
Oh, yeah. And he's also one of those big, strong skating defensemen that they've drafted, and you'll finally start to see why, mainly. And instead of me telling you why or me showing you a clip of why, you're going to see it with your eyes like, oh, got you. I
Yeah,
see. Next,
because
let's
we didn't
tackle.
see him at Dev Camp last year, so not a lot of
No.
people are like familiar
And
with
we
him.
didn't even see the next guy we'll talk about who's his teammate at Dev Camp because he was hurt. Um,
That's right.
we only saw Bausoff, who is hurt, and Alexander Shigatsky, who was hurt this year. My God, injuries suck. So Sound the Siren asks, what is the timeline for Limitov coming to North America? So this is where I'm going to tell everybody, yeah, Kerbin Limitov's really cool. We should cool our jets though.
Yes.
He just turned 19 3 days ago, so happy belated birthday to Big Kerbin.
Big
We
curb.
we gotta cool the Jets a little bit. And it's not saying for no reason, because if you look at Kerbin this year, he was good. He was pretty good for an 18-year-old in the MHL in his draft plus one. He did a lot of things good. He is young, and his contract expires next year, but that's a guy I wouldn't be shocked if Dynamo Moscow has actual KHL plans for, or at least VHL plans for going forward.
Yeah, I was hoping you would say that.
I'm not going
That
to outright say, yo, get this guy over now. And
no,
it'd
I
be
was
great,
hoping that
but
you would say cool the Jets on people.
oh,
Um around Kerbin because I think he's really cool. I think the highlights of what we're seeing all like you're posting all of the crazy highlights, and that's incredible.
because it's kind of what I only do.
Right. But a very young defenseman that plays a style of game that is super volatile.
Yeah.
He's going to look really cool in the highlight reel. Just the way he plays, he's going to score some cool goals as a defenseman. He's going to set up some crazy passes. We need to see him do this against players that are not 18 to 20 years old.
Yeah, which is why I mentioned like this is probably a guy that gets higher end playing time in a different league. Maybe not
Yes.
higher end playing time, but playing time in a tougher league next year. I am not
Yes.
100% sure if Dynamo Moscow has a VHL team, but this is a guy that I think would be playing VHL minutes next year, or
I
a
would
guy that,
imagine if they had a VHL team, Timor Cole probably would have been on it.
that's probably right. So I would not be shocked if he gets loaned to a VHL team next year, or he's getting some form of KHL minutes next year,
Yeah.
just to he's going to end up kind of like what Alexander Suryatsky is ending up like, where his draft plus one has good moments, but he
Mm-hmm.
needs another year or two to kind of show and keep developing the stuff that it is.
I would say at least two because this is the type of player you do not rush to the AHL.
Yeah, because you kind of need to let him develop the rest of the game.
Yeah.
But there's a
I
lot to
would
like.
say we're seeing Corbin within 2 to 3 years in North America. If he extends his contract, good.
Yeah,
Like that is not a problem.
it's not going to hurt you, I promise.
No.
It's the same thing with like Alexander Suryatsky this year. If he extends his contract in Russia, I'm going to be happy for him
Yeah, me too.
because I want to see him get more KHL minutes than what he got this year, and also stay healthy because that'd be kind of nice.
Yeah.
Let's do an easy one next from Tom. How cool is Ivan Ryabkin?
So cool.
He's awesome, dude. Do you realize how sick it is to have a dude go into the queue and just put up 2.1 points per game? Puts up a almost actually more than 2.1 penalty minutes a game. So he's getting a penalty or more a game. And he's just scoring and setting up his teammates and just hitting dudes crazy style. It's sick, man. I'm really interested to see how the playoffs go because there's a level of physicality that Ryabkin plays at, and then the playoffs is going to increase that. How increased can his physicality get? Within reason, to where he's not taking stupid penalties. That's what I want to know.
Yeah, I mean, I think just in general would like to see the intensity tick up a notch for Ryabkin. He needs to play with more intensity. I think that's been my biggest complaint is he's been a recipient of a lot of really good passes and he'll make a few passes and then kind of disappear and not really drive play. I want to see that intensity go to 11.
Yeah, I do get that. What else do we have that isn't draft related? I guess we'll do John B next. Dark horse prospect who could push for a spot in 2 years. I like the 2 years, not next year. I like 2 years because it gives you a little bit more options. I actually, I work at a radio station at the school I go to, and we had Mike Maniscalco on recently, and
Mm-hmm.
I was asked this question of guys who could push for spots next year. And I tried to be a little more creative than just going like Bradley Nadeau or Justin Robida. I went, Felix, because my God, there is a very creative player in there, and you've seen it at a good amount of times this year. Charles Alexis Legault is also kind of an easy one because you've already seen him in the NHL and he looks good against NHL comp, so it was kind of an easy one to
Yeah.
just kind of toss in. And then I went Dominic Badinka.
Damn. I was hoping you wouldn't say him.
Okay. Again, it was because I didn't want to say any Russian guys because I didn't know contract situations, and I didn't want to go some.
Yeah.
Actually, I think I said Charlie Serrato as well,
Yeah,
but that was
that's
also
a fair one. I
that's a
like that.
simple
I
one.
like that
I
one.
was trying to be a little bit more creative, and I said Dominic Badinka because I still hold true on. I see a lot of the ideas and a lot of the traits with Badinka, and this year has had good moments, and this year has had bad moments. And if he can get the bad moments to not be as bad and get some of those to be good moments, there is an NHL defenseman there. It's just, it's a weird year. And I was trying to be creative with my answers. And
Yeah.
I'm going to think, but I'm going to let you go first so I can think.
I think in 2 years, Dominic Badinka is a great answer.
Oh, never mind.
I think, given the fact that he was 19 years old to start the year in the AHL is a big deal. I like the puck moving ability. I think that there's a strong defender there. He's a good skater. Defensively, I think he's made a few really good plays this year, and it's been a work in progress. But I think with one more pro year under his belt, I don't see a reason why he couldn't potentially contend for a spot.
Yeah, that.
Carolina's
No.
decor is aging,
Whew, yeah.
and there's going to be more spots open than a lot of people think in a few years. So I think Badinka is going to have a lot of resources poured into him to try and get the most out of him. And I like the player. I've been more of a fan this year than I was last year. I didn't really see it last year, and I think that's an option. I think Justin Poirier has a shot in 2 years.
I kind of want to put that out as a clip for a teaser of this episode.
I mean, think about it.
I'm not going to say it's a hot take, but it's leaning. It's like
it's
you
it's.
turned on the oven a little bit and you put your
I
hand there
have I
and you're
have
like,
at least begun to turn on the oven. It's maybe at about 200 right now.
okay.
Like, but think about it though. He had a really good freshman season.
He did.
He's still 19 years old until
He
August, I
is.
believe.
Actually, I want to say it's September.
Yeah, he's young for
Yes.
his draft age
He plus
class.
2, and he doesn't turn 20 until late this year.
Yeah, which is the case with a lot of the 24 picks. Anyways,
Kind of cool.
Poirier has a really good shot. I think he plays with an intensity that is at least comparable to Justin Robidas. I think there's a little bit more skill than Robidas. So for me, I'm like, that might be enough to get Perron above the Robidas tier of really good AHL player, but like
You do mean
not
Poirier,
quite.
correct?
Yes.
Just want to double check. You said Perron.
I said, Perron. I apologize. I was looking at his name. I can get Poirier right at the level that's kind of separated Robidas from the NHL.
Mm.
To where, like, yeah, he's pretty good and he's a really good AHL player, but is he going to be a consistent NHL producer? And funny enough, Robidas has been when he's been up.
Yeah,
But
I think he's a point per game, or like almost a point per game at the
yeah,
NHL
it's
level.
it's silly, but still, like I think Poirier can get to the level of where he's consistently at the NHL level.
Yes. I'm going to pull out Brian Windhorst here. 2 years. I'm going to go Alexander Rykov. Now, solely because the style of game that he plays is very, I believe, it is very well conducive to the modern day NHL bottom six. I can
Yeah,
see Alexander Rykov, but also the Carolinas bottom six is locked up. And a lot of their players are locked up long term, especially wingers.
won't let me.
Dude.
You said it.
So, and that's my reasoning is that I
That's another
think his
clip.
play style is very well where it could be successful for the modern day NHL bottom six.
Yeah.
So that's kind of where my head's at. In 2 years, you never know.
If he has 2 healthy seasons, absolutely.
Because we were talking, what, a year ago, 2 years ago, about this kid, he could be one of the most NHL ready guys in the system.
Mm-hmm.
Because you see the traits and you're like, yeah, bottom six winger, it makes sense. I can still see it. So that's why I'm like, 2 years, if he's healthy, I wouldn't be shocked. Bottom 6 minutes. I can see it.
That would be I would be thrilled.
I can see it. So, all right. Do we want to try the Chicago Wolves one next? We're not going to give out names because we don't know, but we can try because, if anything, we will confidently say the Chicago Wolves this year are going to look drastically different than the Chicago Wolves next year. I think that is the simplest way you can say it.
Yeah.
Because if you go through that roster, I want to say 90% of that roster is on 1 year contracts. If I'm looking at the defense, Dominic Badinka, no, but Dominic Fensore, that guy, I want to say Alexi Haimo is on the last year of his contract. He is. So that's
Hmm.
two, technically three. I'm not going to say the kid's name because he sucks, but um, Ronan Seeley, Yuso Valimaki. 5 out of the 8 defensemen are on 1 year deals. And then you have a guy like Charles Alexis Legault, who could potentially be NHL. Joel Nystrom, potentially NHL. Dominic Badinka, he is going to be in the AHL. So there's that. The forwards,
Yeah.
Gumler's already has a is going to leave. Skylar Brindamore, if I'm not, yeah, Skylar Brindamore 1 year deal. Bradley Nadeau could be NHL. Victor Neuchev 1 year deal. Nikita Pavlichev, Noah Philp, Justin Robita, Josiah Slavin, Giovanni Smith, Ryan Suzuki, Yannick Turcotte, Evan Vierling, all on 1 year deals. This team
So
is going
let's
to look so drastically different.
yeah. So let's talk about the players that I think will stay.
Skylar Brindamore and Josiah Slavin. I think those are kind of like it's been in the back of my mind that they're just going to be Chicago Wolves forever.
Brindamore, yes. I'm iffy on Slavin.
Well, Slavin's the captain, which is kind of why.
Andrew
Hey,
Podorowski was the
hey,
captain.
shout out him. He's having a good
Yeah.
year with Avangard Omsk.
Um, Ui Yaska is on has another year on his contract, so he's probably staying.
I would assume so.
Rapkin's probably back in the AHL next year.
That
I
I
cannot see him
okay.
going.
We can drop probably from that. At this
Yeah,
point, Ivan Rapkin will be back in the AHL next year.
Felix probably starts next year in the AHL, but I don't know how long that will be.
That is correct. You're missing a
Um,
name here, man. Put the exclamation point at the end of his name. He's got another year on his deal.
he does.
Don't do this, man.
I hate to say it.
Don't you dare.
No, no. I think the Canes give Gleb next year. I
This is
think
his, okay. Spiros explained it, man. 2 traumatic leg injuries last year. This is his first real year in North America, and he just had a kid.
but he's been scratched for like the past 10 games.
Because he just had a kid.
I don't know. I think that is telling.
In any case, he has another year on his deal, and
He
I don't
does.
think there's anything going on there, so I think he stays.
I just don't know. I don't. So those are the guys that I could say, like, without a doubt, are probably going to be in
So
the
that was
AHL.
what, 2, 3 forwards?
Rabkin, we'll put Gleb in there for now.
Felix and Juha Jaska.
Felix,
4.
Yaska, Robida.
Well, Robido's on a 1 year deal.
Robida will get extended.
Okay, so
Robida's at the end of his ELC. He'll get extended.
so 5.
5.
5
Let's
forwards.
throw.
I think you could probably I'm going to say probably throw Serrato in there.
Yeah, I'll throw Serrato in there.
You were probably going to throw one of, if not both, of Brindamore Slavin.
Yep.
At least one. Good lord. I mean, Nikita Pavlichev has been serviceable.
I think if Pavlichev signs Pavlichev and Vierling, I would love to have back on AHL contracts.
That, yeah, I feel as if that makes a good amount of sense.
Yeah. I don't know if they're NHL. They're not worth an NHL contract in my book, but they're great AHL depth pieces.
Correct. They are perfect pieces for your bottom 6 in the AHL.
Legault, 50-50 on whether or not he's in the NHL next year, but like we'll
You can do
throw
the
him as a
same,
maybe.
and then you can do maybe for Joel Nystrom, or Joel Nystrom, sorry. You can do a maybe for
I think
Joel.
it's Joel.
I've heard it, but like Mike Maniscalco says Joel, and then I've said Yoel because, and then like I'll listen to the Chicago Wolves broadcast and they'll say Joel and then sometimes Yoel. So I get very confused.
Yeah.
But
Montgomery is probably AHL next year full
I
time.
think he should because he's better than the ECHL at this point.
Yeah.
Actually,
Badinka?
but ooh, wait. Is he expiring? No,
Nope.
he just signed. He signed this year. I'm stupid.
No, last year, 3-year deal.
He whatever. He signed recently. I'm sorry.
Anyways, Badinka, definitely.
So that's what 3, 4, and 90% of
Well,
them
we'll
are
call it
actually.
3 because like Nystrom and Legault are probably like a half.
Those are also all right-handed defensemen.
Correct.
So that means one of them, one of the right-handed defensemen on that roster currently, definitely won't be brought back.
Alexei Himasalmi's gone.
Okay, that I was not. I was setting you up for the easy slam dunk there, but all right.
Oh, Kyle Masters.
Dude, Jesus Christ. No, Cal Foot.
Um,
I was setting you up
oh,
for
sorry. I'm
Cal
looking at
Foot.
Puckpedia. I'm only looking at NHL signed players.
Whatever.
So I think Ronan Seeley and Dom Fensori leave for greener pastures.
I also fall in that same boat.
Would
Because
it shock me if one of them comes back?
no,
No, but I
Fensori has
think
gotten
both of
NHL games with the
them.
Canes this year. Can you believe
Yeah,
that?
I think that Fensori, like, he's the Canes are one of the few NHL teams that would give him an opportunity, and so perhaps he stays for that. But I don't know. Goaltenders. Ugh.
Amir Matahov. Hey man, love you.
Caden Primo has been fine. I don't
I
know
wouldn't
if
be
I
shocked
want
if he would.
Caden Primo as my AHL starter.
I wouldn't be shocked if he's brought back.
Yeah.
But also, then Ruslan Hajayev is under contract, so
Yes. So Zayev,
one.
Amir Miftahov, Shanghai Dragons.
No, no, no.
Um,
I hate that that's actually the right team name, but no.
Nikita Kwap can go to whatever the Galveston of Germany is.
I kind of want to cut that out, man. That's bad.
Okay.
I'm
We
not
can cut
going
that.
to.
We can cut
No,
that
no, we're keeping it in because it's funny, but
out. Okay.
that's teetering the line.
Nikita Kwap just has not been very good, and I don't think the
No.
Canes bring him back.
I mean, he has
Is the
like
point.
half decent games recently.
Anyways,
He has. I'm just saying.
anyways, I think out of this group, you probably see the Canes add like definitely a goalie or two.
I would say at least 2. At
Yeah,
least.
through like free agents, NHL free agency, and then they probably bring in like Victor Neuchev's not going to come back. I don't see that being a thing. I think the Canes really only acquired him so that they could give Gavin Bayreuther like a better opportunity.
I agree. Technically, Victor Neuchev is a prospect, though, so.
He is 22 years old.
Yeah.
Um, I don't think they bring back Noah Philp. They probably find new Noah Philp in free agency.
There are a lot of Noah Phillips out there.
Yeah, and so I think like you probably bring in one or two, maybe 3 forwards, and then a defenseman or two.
Also, sucks for Giovanni Smith, because if he didn't get hurt, he probably would have been a big part of the AHL team. But
Yeah,
and he still
I
has a chance
agree.
to be a big part of the AHL team for their playoff run.
Yeah,
But the injury did really suck. Same with
yeah,
Yaska, because he hasn't played at all this year.
yeah. So that's why I just think like it's going to be a different roster. We're going to see a lot of the same prospects, but I think it'll be.
So hopefully that answered your question. It's just very hard to actually try and predict it this far out, just because it's gonna be. There's gonna be so many things. Like, would it even shock you if like the Canes brought over somebody from Europe, like they did with Yaska, or I guess Gavin Bayreuther, because he was a Europe guy before. Yeah, he
Yeah,
was.
it wouldn't shock me if they sign like a guy that does well at Worlds.
Yeah, it's one of those things where it could potentially happen. It just kind of depends. It's so hard to try and accurately predict or just predict in general. So I hope that answered your question somewhat. And I guess the last question slash questions are draft related. And I guess it is kind of fair to answer those now because we're almost in April and the draft is what, June?
Mm-hmm. And I just
So
released a draft piece on Substack.
yes, and I didn't think it was bad, but way too many guys from North America, man. Have we
Hey,
not learned our lesson?
you
We
can't draft
gotta.
from America occasionally.
They drafted from North America, if we want to be very technical, twice this year. If I'm not mistaken, it was, or three times, I'm sorry. Charlie Serrato, very technically Ivan Ryabkin, because he was USHL end of the year, and Philip Ekberg. Whatever. Okay, so first up, Reese was asking early potential targets for Carolina in the first. Sorry, I mean the second. Good catch, buddy. If you
Yeah.
think the Canes are keeping that first round pick and making it, you have beachfront property in Kansas to buy.
Oh, buddy, that pick is gone.
Son, that pick was promised to a different team like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Buddy, that thing has been like in
Yeah.
Chicago for like a week.
Yeah. So the Carolina Hurricanes are
Okay,
likely
well
picking.
there were still some other questions I was gonna loop in.
Oh well, okay. I didn't know that. I'm sorry.
I mean, they're about players, so I guess it's whatever. So we have two different questions that actually list players. So I'm gonna talk about those. So Tanner M asked Dmitry Borichev, I believe is the Loco goalie. If I'm not mistaken, I will double check in about 10 seconds. Ilya Morozov, the Miami of Ohio center, and Igor Shilov, who Matt has fond memories of, with the Canes' first draft selection in the upcoming draft, and then Olympic Slavin. Who's your guy's favorite draft prospect for this year's draft? Personally, I'm a big fan of JP Hurlbert. Actually, a pretty decent prospect, so I do shout it out. Intrigued to hear who you guys like this year. Love the podcast. Shout out to you, man. We love that you listen to us talk. That means a lot. So yeah, first up, Canes are not drafting in the first round. If they draft in the first round, we will be shocked.
That'll be like the
Radim Murtka reaction last
American
year.
meme where we're just like,
Okay, now I'm going to double check for my own knowledge, but I'm 90% sure Borichev is the locomotive goalie.
he is Loco 76's goalie. Yep.
Yes, so that is the Silver Division MHL team. And he has had a good year, and to my knowledge, he is currently the number one goalie in this year's draft. Comparatively to last year when it was like Pyotr Andreyanov, Jack Ivankovic, Joshua Ravensburg, Semyon
This is not a
Frolov.
great goalie year.
Yeah, it's kind of insane, and it kind of sucks because the Canes still need to take one.
They don't
Because,
need to.
buddy,
Should they?
take a goalie a year for the love of God.
Yeah.
So I guess actually what I can do, because I have, if you are an audio listener, I'm very sorry. I'm going to share my screen so video listeners can actually get a nice look at the Elite Prospects consolidated top 100 here. So whoever has a top 100 out on Elite Prospects, they'll just compile them all into whatever they do for it. We're going to go into like the 35 to 40 range, and we're just kind of look and see.
Can
Immediately,
I?
I can see a guy, and man, the name is already there. But that was actually one of the things I was going to talk about. Torpedo, three guys this year: Viktor Fyodorov, Jan Melnikov, Gleb Pugachev.
What a name.
We need a second Gleb. They have three guys that are probably going in the top 2 rounds this year. Any one of those would kind of be good. Viktor Fyodorov is a center. Gleb is a winger, and Jan Melnikov is, I want to say, a winger more than a center. Any one of those guys, to me, are halfway decent. I know them a little bit better just because I have watched a ton of Torpedo games, Torpedo Gorky, Chaika, whenever Andrei Krutov was playing
Mhm.
for them. So I've seen them a little bit comparatively to guys that I have just never seen, like Pierce and Bowie, Jackson Cover, Liam Ruck. Never seen them play hockey before. Actually, Liam Ruck I do know is good, but
If you've not seen Liam and Marcus Ruck play together,
they're good. I know.
oh my god.
I'm the way I have this set up is kind of weird. So I'm trying to like look ahead, so I'm still looking at the camera, but it's off to the side. But like I haven't seen those guys play, but comparatively to the Gleb V2, Viktor Fyodorov and Jan, I've actually seen them play. So those are the ones that I know off the top of my head.
Yeah.
I have heard good things about the. I don't know what country that is off the top of my head, but Simas Ignatavicius is a big center.
I believe that's Lithuania.
It is. He is a big center, and I've heard good things about him. But he's also probably going much higher than what is he's currently listed because he is a big center
Hmm.
who is playing senior league minutes already. Is there anybody that catches your eye, Matt?
The Ruck
Obviously,
twins,
yeah.
great. And I think if
Oh,
either
I
of them
know.
are available,
I
like
know.
if Marcus Ruck is available in the early second round, you take that kid. Like yes, there's a lot of raw potential there, but like this is a guy that had 80 assists this year.
It's kind of good. I know.
Like
Oh, sorry, you
you're
go.
getting a guy that could be a premier playmaker, and Liam Ruck is a great goal scorer and also a decent playmaker. Like these kids should be a lot higher. They've led the CHL in points.
Again, this is consolidated, so
Yeah,
they probably vary greatly. I know you talked about Tommy Blyle, if that's how you pronounce
Tommy
that.
Blyle, and this is another guy. I had a guy that worked for me that actually coached him at Albany
Mm,
2 years ago.
okay.
Uh, Great kid and super high hockey sense, really great
Others.
playmaker. Not the most physical defenseman, definitely plays the QMJHL style, so there's room to kind of develop him here. He's also a little bit older for the draft class, being a December '07 birthday.
Mm,
But man, it's just he can move the puck really well. I
yeah.
don't I don't the worry I have with Blyle is that he's a power play specialist at the NHL level.
Ooh.
But that's a guy that you consider taking the middle rounds because of his production.
I can already see a guy that I would like to talk about for a second. Right above Tommy Blyle, actually. Laver Gashelov.
Not a real person.
He is, buddy. He has 60. He has 69 points. That's real to
Nice.
me.
Okay, you've reeled me back in.
He is a Russian center who has had a really, really good year in the Avtos system. He is a 6'2" center, a September 2007, and I think that's late
Mm-hmm.
for this year's draft. Um, he was almost a point per game in the MHL in his draft -1, and now is a plus point per game in his draft year.
Mm-hmm.
He's playing heavy minutes in the MHL. Like, it's rare when he gets less than 20. He is a really solid playmaker, and he's a center, and that is kind of my reasoning. Um, but I've also seen a lot of tape on him this year because Dylan Griffin shares a lot. He's like one of his guys this year. And as we know, the Canes really like to draft Russians, and 90% of the time they're on Griffin's list somewhere. I need to go into the depths of the post that I have on that account to find last year's, but I want to say they took a good amount from who he liked last year.
Yeah, and then and some other kids that I've watched this year or watched in the past. Ben McBeath is
That's a
okay.
name. Oh my god. I thought you said
He
beef. I'm sorry.
Ben McBeath.
With a TH.
It's like Macbeth, but with an extra letter.
Ah, I see.
But decent OHL season played in the, or WHL season played in the BCHL last year. So like he's had junior hockey experience for a while. I don't know if he's an NHL defenseman, so I'm not like 100% on that. That's just
Mm.
my opinion, though. Like I've heard decent things about Viktor Fyodorov.
Yeah, that's
Like,
one of the Torpedo 3.
yeah, and then I feel like
People
Thomas Galvis also.
I was gonna mention that people really like Thomas Galvis, and I think they really like him because of what they saw at the World Juniors. I get it. I don't have the Canes really been the team recently to draft based on really good World Juniors.
The last one I could think of is I think they drafted Nystrom.
Would you count Jaimo Salmi in that group?
I don't think Amasomi was at the World Juniors that year he was drafted.
I guess it was the year after that. I remember
Yeah.
now.
I personally and this is just something I've noticed. The Canes have really shied away from the 5'9" defenseman.
Yeah, I think the last one they took that was sub
Or, like,
six
excuse me, under
was
6 feet defenseman.
I think the last one they took was Gerdinen
Yeah.
because they haven't all their defensemen they've taken since then, and I guess
Pelovin.
Nystrom. Yeah, Pelivan's 5'11", but he was a seventh round pick, sixth, seventh, something like that. Oh,
Yeah.
sixth.
I just think the Canes are shying away from that. Those are just a few names. I don't want to get into like too much
Oh,
because again, the
buddy,
draft is 3 months away.
it is. Very quickly to round it out, I've had somebody try to hype up this fine gentleman named Wigo. I'm going to pronounce it Wigo just in case. Uh, Sorensen in the Swedish Division 2. I had somebody try to hype him up to me, and I'm not saying no, but I'm not going to look into it right now. I'm just
Yeah,
saying somebody has told me about him
don't they?
and said that it's somebody that the Canes like to look at. So
Division 2 is like
it's low, if I'm not mistaken. It's not high, and that's kind of the my knowledge level. And there's probably other guys that I'm completely missing. What the? That's you, the intern.
oh, do you hear her?
I heard something. What is Division
Yeah.
Two? I don't. Their leading guy had 70 points in
Division 2
26
is
games.
like the fourth tier of Swedish
You're
hockey.
telling me that's below Hockey Etten?
I'm pretty sure
Oh, that
because
can't.
U18 Div 1 is like their second tier U18 league. U20 Div 1 I think is their third tier. I think like it's really bad.
Okay,
Like it's great that he's playing 29 games and is tearing up this bad men's league.
I will look into that later. But yeah,
And I mean, to be
the
fair, he's gotten 2 games with not U20 national teams, and those are not the top U20 teams and U18 teams.
yeah. So those
Actually,
are the
maybe they are. Hold on.
in any in any case, those are the guys that we at least have some background knowledge on right now. In like a month or two, we're probably going to know a good amount more about other guys. Like, color me shocked if somebody that is currently on this list that I have up is drafted by the Hurricanes. It wouldn't shock me at all. It's just those are the guys that we know about as of right now. So again, probably not the greatest answer that we could have given to that question, but it's the answer that we have right now because I still have a lot of hockey to watch just for prospects that are currently attached to the Canes, and I normally don't tackle anything draft related until most of the seasons are over already.
Yeah, I just think it's smart to to wait.
Yeah. Oh,
In
that
my
was
opinion,
I thought there was going to be another.
no, it's just in my opinion, it's smart to wait.
Yeah, and then the last one comes from Blue Sky because I do try and use that platform from time to time. It comes from Sam Hughes, who actually asks a lot of questions, and I appreciate it. Do you talk to prospects or other scouts about not just the Canes system and developing in it, but also how they feel about playing for a franchise that has very little space in the big league roster, especially given the Canes draft strategy of small skilled wingers and big Russian defensemen? Um, no. Well, the prospects are going to always say they are hyper competitive, and they are. Like the team that drafted them, they always want to make the team, or at least 99.9% of the time, the team that drafted them, they want to make the NHL roster for that team, just
Yeah,
because they are hyper competitive people. For other scouts, like for my world, I'm talking with like the Dauber prospects people because I'm still friends with a good amount of them from my time working with Dauber prospects. I don't know if I ever mentioned that. I don't work with Dauber prospects anymore. Um, just kind of went in a different direction. Uh, so like I'll still talk with them from time to time, and we'll talk about the Canes system mostly because they still have fans of the Canes and they still talk with stuff like that. And like if I talk with scouts, it's always just gonna not. It's gonna be about certain things. So for me, it's always just gonna be about the Canes for the most part. Just one of those things.
yeah. I mean, I don't really talk about the question's like, do you talk to players, right?
Prospects slash other scouts, because like we technically are scouts. Well, you are actually, but I'm like a scout, but I know for a fact what I do is scouting. So
Yeah, I don't really talk to other scouts about Kane's prospects that much, because most of the work that I've done this year, especially, has been on like the 15 to 16-year-old side. And that's why, like, I'm like, oh, cool! I know a lot of the players in this draft class from Western Canada
yeah.
because I was watching those players.
So that's yeah. It's gonna be different for Matt and then different for me because my whole thing is Kane's prospects.
Yeah, and like, don't get me wrong. Like, I have had conversations about, like, like where with like Scott Morrow. Like, I had talked to somebody at this random tournament that was like, hey, I don't know about that Morrow kid, and I was like, oh, that's interesting. But like, it was like a one-off thing, and you kind of take little bits from people, and it's nothing like, you know a lot of what I used to do with the Express was like, I'm actually talking with, like, um like a lot of like players agents and stuff. So like, Brandon Bussey's agent is one of the nicest dudes I've ever met inside a hockey rink. John Kofi is
Oh yeah, that's a
a
Michael
great
Emerson's
dude.
agent. Yeah.
Like, travels to see his clients play. Like, he traveled to see Brandon Bussey's NHL debut. Like, he was able to work with his family to get them there. Like, super nice dude. So like, that's the kind of experience that I've had in the past. But like, talking to players, like, I don't talk to the prospects, and I don't
It's
talk about. I try to not. There's a professionalism thing where I just, you know, I don't want to step on any toes and be like, hey, what about this dude? Like, nah.
yeah, that yeah, that's another thing. Cuz like whenever I went did a preseason a few years ago and I talked with Legault, Nadeau, Rhymes, Felix and those guys, I'm asking them about them. I'm asking them about
Mhm.
their game, what they're doing and trying to figure out more about them as a person comparatively to like I do think I asked Charles something about Nadeau and Blake, but it was more of like trying to figure it out because Blake was poking fun at him. Or like whenever I asked Legault who his favorite musical artist was, and I hear Felix and Gunler and Jaime Salmi laughing over my shoulder when Charles gives his answer. That
Well,
then
it
I'll
was
be
like
like,
who his
yeah,
favorite player is and things like that. Like, I loved when I get to talk to the players. Like, I wanted to hear their personalities. I don't care about the players. Like, I do care about the players' goals and stuff, but like, always when I was talking to the players and interviewing them, my goal was to let people know the human side of players.
yeah, that's important to me. I wanted a mix. I wanted to make sure I asked them certain developmental questions about going into their year, but I also wanted to make sure they're like because in for college kids and for European kids, they just don't get asked those questions a ton. It's a lot of just professionalism, and I want Charles Lexus to go to say that Celine Dion's his favorite singer. I want that part to
That
come
makes a
out.
lot of sense, knowing like just where
Yes,
he's
it a
from.
1000% does.
Yeah,
I want to know that Bradley Nadeau is a chocolate milk addict, and now we have that from him and from Spiros that that kid is a chocolate milk fiend.
just really loves him some chocolate milk.
I can't blame him, but like I want to know. It's a mix. So to
Yeah,
hopefully answer your question, not particularly. Because just for us, we want the prospects to just express some personalities. I want them to just show off themselves and not think about other guys in the system. And like thinking back to this past development camp when we talked to Yaravoy and Frolov. Um, I wrote about that. We're good. Uh, uh, we we're asking them questions about what was going on with them in Russia and like trying to figure out like their development and stuff like that. But we were also trying. They were humans. They were making jokes. We were making jokes with them. It was broken because we're speaking English and they have broken English and we're trying to translate it and it's funny. It takes a lot. But again, we want them to express personality and not just be robots or answering questions about the hurricane system and stuff like that.
Well, I'm also like, it's so much more fun to see the players' personalities, dude. Like,
You ever make Stanislav Yarvoy laugh, man? That kid's got a funny smile in a good way.
and my favorite thing about it is about all of it's like, when we talk to these guys, we're not asking them like, if you don't make the NHL, like what's the plan? Or like, Carolina's got a lot of like, we don't want to I don't want to put pressure on players. Like they
No.
know what's ahead of them. Like they know, hey, these are the players, this is the fight that I have to make, right? Like, but at the same time, you know, if I can get the players to talk about, their journey so far, the steps that they've taken. Hey, you were working on this the last time we talked. What have you continued working on that? How, like, are you proud of the work that's done? Like, what are you working on now? Like, that's a thing that I think, is more productive. I don't know. I'm trying to
Yeah.
think of like a way to word
The
that.
last thing I'll say about this, and probably the last thing we need to say, because this is the longest episode we've ever had.
There were a lot of questions, and
Yeah,
then
a lot of
honestly,
questions,
with
and
the fact that we had a lot of
we had stuff to talk about.
end of season stuff is a lot.
And the next time we record in another month, we're probably going to have another lot of things to talk about because a lot of things will probably happen from now until the next time we record.
Yes.
But the last thing I'll say about this is like the amount of love that Igor Velmakin got shown for the personality coming out in Dev Camp. What was it, 3 years ago, 2 years ago at this
A
point?
few years ago, yeah.
My God, he became a fan favorite super quick
Mm-hmm.
because he was just a personable guy. Same with Ruslan Hajayev. The video
Yeah.
of him punching the ball with it attached to his head. Like, people like to see that stuff. They don't want us to go up to like these two basically kids who were coming to North America for the first time or one of their first times. They don't want us to be like, yo, Carolina's got a stacked system and, goalie might be kind of hard to break through. What are you going to do? We want to be like, yo, how are you enjoying North America so far? North Carolina, kind of cool. And it's also like, we haven't spoken to them, or at least I haven't spoken to Igor Velmakin since then. And Ruslan Hajayev, I've barely seen since that
Yeah.
moment. Like, it's one of those, I want their personalities to shine so people understand what these players are outside of just hockey. Okay, again, longest episode we've ever done because we had a lot to talk about and we went on some crazy tangents.
I apologize for that. That's me. That's on me.
Well, you had Vigo Nordland, I had this in the draft, so
Yes.
it's a weird one, but this is we're not going to talk for probably another 3 weeks, so probably a good thing to rest up because an hour and 48 minutes. Well, again, if you would listen this far, thank you. The love and support you've shown for a podcast solely basically about Kane's prospects has been kind of insane.
This
And
is a very niche podcast, so we appreciate it.
we greatly appreciate the support we get. Great. Thank you very much. I think the Substack, the listeners through Substack, we just hit 10K. The 10K downloads, which really cool. I
Oh,
didn't think we'd see that number for a very long time. So thank you very much for listening. We'll probably be back in 3 weeks unless some big stuff happens in quick succession and we kind of have to.
unless there's a Brian Windhorst moment.
Yeah, unless Brian Windhorst appears like 2 or 3 times and we have a lot of people to talk about. But yeah, thank you for listening, and we'll be back sometime soon.